Firefly's Promise and the Midnight Spell. Citra. A Once Upon a Midnight Fairy Tale. In a secluded valley, surrounded by ancient trees that whispered forgotten songs, there lay a village untouched by time. The people there lived quietly, their lives entwined with the rhythm of nature, and most of all, with the glowing fireflies that graced their skies every night. But these fireflies were no mere insects. They carried with them an ancient, sacred magic, one that had shielded the village from a deep and hungry darkness for as long as anyone could remember. Among all the glittering lights that flitted across the night sky, there was one that gleamed brighter, warmer, and purer than the rest. Her name was Luma, a golden firefly said to be born from the first light of dawn and the final star of dusk. She was more than magical. She was legendary. And to a curious girl named Rilana, Luma was a friend, a guide, and a secret promise whispered into the hush of twilight. Rilana had lived her whole life listening to stories from her grandmother, the village's elder and keeper of tales. With a voice like wind brushing through leaves, her grandmother told her of the midnight spell, a curse cast by a scorned sorceress who once dwelled in the forest beyond. It was a spell of endless night, fueled by envy of the firefly's beauty and light. One day, her grandmother warned gently, brushing silver hair from Rilana's brow, "The spell will stir again, and when it does, Luma will need your courage, child. For her promise, though old, is not yet fulfilled." Rilana never questioned it. She only listened, as the fireflies danced above them like stars that had forgotten the sky. Every evening, she would wait near the forest's edge, where roots tangled and time felt thinner. And always, Luma would find her, landing softly on her open hand, her light a tiny sun glowing in the dusk. But peace, as ever in stories like this, was not meant to last. One cool summer night, with a purple sky thick with velvet clouds, Rilana sat at her usual spot. The air buzzed, and the fireflies appeared, their soft golden glow weaving through the air like drifting embers. But Luma's glow was dim. She fluttered unsteadily, her wings trembling. Alarmed, Rilana cupped her hands, and Luma sank into her palms like a dying flame. "What's happening?" she whispered, her voice barely a breath. The firefly's light pulsed faintly, then flickered again. Terror gripped her chest. Without hesitation, she ran through the forest paths to her grandmother's cottage, branches snagging her sleeves, moss soft beneath her bare feet. "Grandmother!" she cried, bursting through the door. The old woman turned from the hearth and gasped. Her gaze fell upon the fading firefly. "It has begun," she murmured. "The midnight spell is awakening." Her words hit like thunder. If Luma's light fails, the magic will falter. The darkness will spill from the forest, and our village will vanish beneath a sky that never dawns. Rilana stared at her. Then what must I do? With trembling hands, her grandmother retrieved an old map and spread it across the table. "You must journey to the heart tree, deep within the forest. It is where the first fireflies were born, where their magic springs eternal. Only there can Luma's light be restored. But beware, the sorceress's shadow still lingers." A cold dread ran down Rilana's spine. But she nodded, already packing food, a lantern, and a glass jar lined with moss for Luma to rest in. Her grandmother pressed a kiss to her forehead. "Remember, child, the light always finds a way, even in the darkest woods." With those words echoing behind her, Rilana disappeared into the trees. The deeper she walked, the thicker the air became. Shadows slithered between branches. The forest, once familiar, now felt like something ancient watching her from every root and leaf. Even the wind seemed to whisper, "Rilana, Rilana, turn back." Shapes danced in the corner of her eyes. Whispers twisted around her ears. "You do not belong here." But she gripped the lantern tighter, heart pounding. "I'm not afraid," she said aloud, though she was. Suddenly, the shadows surged forward, cold and smoke-like. They formed faces, mouths twisted in silent screams. She raised her lantern, its flame casting trembling light through the dark. The shadows hissed and recoiled, but did not vanish. They slithered behind her, above her, beside her. She ran. Branches clawed her arms, roots caught at her boots. The jar holding Luma rattled in her grip. Just as her legs gave out, the forest opened into a clearing bathed in light. She collapsed onto soft grass, gasping, and before her stood the heart tree, taller than any she had ever seen. Its bark gold-flecked, its branches shimmering with tiny lights. It looked as if it held the stars within its leaves. At its roots bubbled a silver pool, still and glowing like liquid moonlight. Rilana placed Luma's jar beside it and opened the lid. The firefly crawled onto her hand, her light now no more than a ghostly flicker. Rilana knelt, tears brimming. "Please," she whispered to the pool, "help her." She dipped her fingers into the water and let the starlight drip gently onto Luma's back. A faint hum vibrated through the clearing. Slowly, the golden glow returned. Brighter, stronger. But then, the wind howled. The shadows returned, swirling into a single shape. A woman made of darkness, tall and terrible. Her face was veiled in shadow, her eyes like dying stars. "The curse is mine," the sorceress hissed. "It was never yours to break." Rilana stood, her body trembling. "This forest doesn't belong to you. It belongs to silence, to sorrow, to me." The sorceress lunged, but Luma flared in Rilana's hands, her light burning like a second sun. The shadow recoiled, shrieking. Rilana closed her eyes and began to sing, not out of fear, but of hope. The song her grandmother once sang, soft as dusk and old as firelight. The pool glowed. The tree pulsed with golden life. The fireflies emerged, countless and blazing. They gathered around Rilana and Luma like a swirling galaxy of light. The sorceress screamed. Her shadow tore and unraveled, her form breaking into mist. As Rilana's song rose, the light overwhelmed the clearing, and the shadow was no more. Silence returned, soft and sacred. Luma rose from Rilana's hands, her golden light now steady and strong. She danced above the pool, leaving trails of magic in the air. Rilana smiled, exhausted, but at peace. "Thank you," came a whisper, not from outside, but within her mind. Luma's voice, like wind chimes in a summer breeze. The firefly's promise is fulfilled. Rilana lay back in the grass, watching the sky above the heart tree. For the first time, she saw no stars, only fireflies, lighting the night with a promise kept. When she returned to the village, the people gathered in awe. The sky above their homes sparkled brighter than ever. The fireflies were everywhere, dancing joyously, their glow stronger than memory. Her grandmother embraced her tightly. "You've done what none of us could. You listened. You believed." From that day on, Rilana became the new storyteller. She sat each evening by the forest's edge, with children gathered at her feet, telling the tale of the golden firefly and the girl who walked through shadows for the light. And Luma, faithful, golden Luma, always returned to her hand, her glow never fading. The heart tree still stood, deep in the forest, watching over all who dreamt by starlight. and as long as fireflies danced in the night, the village would remain safe. For the firefly's promise had been passed on, and in Rilana's heart, it would burn forever. The end.